Okay, everyone, so we're going to do a series of videos on our Exam 2 practice exercise, and I'm going to cut it up into segments so we can just take it one little piece at a time, which is how you should approach the actual exam, is just, attacking it little by little. So I have a skeletal program here. I have the basics up at the top. I don't think I'm using IOmanip in this program for like set precision or anything, but I do believe I'm asking for set precision on the actual exam. So make sure you include IOmanip up at the top of that one. So looking at these instructions here, we're being asked to create some sort of program for a teacher to use, and this program will compute and tally the number of A's, B's, and C's and so on in the class based on student midterm and final exam scores. So these are the specs, and like I said, don't let it overwhelm you. Just take it one task at a time. So we're going to start with a function. There is going to be a function on the exam, and you'll want to start with that. So I've highlighted some of the pertinent parts here, but it says write a function called getLetterGrade. That's going to be the name of our function. It's going to have a return type of char, a character type, and two float parameters, which we'll call mid and fin for the midterm and final exam scores. So getting back to the code here, you have a couple of options when you're creating your function. You could go with the prototype up at the top, which is just the one-liner, and then define your function down below. Or you can skip the prototype and just put the whole thing up here before main and not have anything down here. I think I'm going to go with that second option, just so I'm not jumping all over the place in this video. So the function is just going to be up here in its entirety. So again, getting back to these instructions, we're told that the function will have a return type of char, and we're going to call it getLetterGrade. So we always start with the return type. This is going to return a character, and then we're told the function is going to be called getLetterGrade. Okay, and then we'll have the parameter list. What did it say again? Two float parameters called mid and fin. Okay, so there's the first one. There's the second one, okay? And now I will throw down the curly braces for the body of the function. Notice no semicolon here. If you're going to skip the prototype and do it this way, don't put a semicolon after that, that function header, okay? So now let's go a little bit further with this, and then I'm going to end this video and move on to another one. So we're going to compute the average of the students' midterm and final scores. Oh wait, you know what? I skipped this one. Inside the function, you're going to create a float variable called AVG and a char called letter. Okay, we can do that. I'm inside the function. I'm going to create a float variable called AVG. Maybe I'll initialize that to 0. Then a char variable called letter, which I'll initialize to a null escape sequence. Notice that the char, if you're putting a value into a char, that thing is going to go in single quotes. Single quotes. That's just one of those little C++ quirks that you have to pay attention to. So let's see here. All right, so we have those variables in place. We're done with this part. Compute the average of the students' midterm and final exam scores contained in the mid and fin parameters and put the average in the AVG variable. Okay, that's pretty easy. I'm going to put the averages going into the AVG variable, and what would it be? It would be the midterm plus the final exam divided by 2, right? Okay, some of you are probably noticed there's something wrong with this though. I do have to be mindful of the arithmetic order of operations here and enclose the addition, that part in parentheses to make it go first. Okay, so that'll get the student's average in the course, okay? All right, so then code an if-else to assign a letter grade to the letter variable based on the student's average. An average of 90 or greater is an A, average of 80 or greater is a B, and so on. Okay, so I think I'm going to, I have some code already copied that I'm going to use so we don't have to watch me type this. Okay, hang on here. Okay, so if AVG, which we just calculated, is greater than or equal to 90, we're going to assign the letter variable an A in single quotes. Or else if it's greater than or equal to 80, letter is going to be B, and so on down the line, okay? When you reach the end, if you've made it this far, it's an F. So you don't really have to do an else if AVG is greater than or equal to 50 or whatever, you know, or less than 60, I would say. But what, you know, if you're at the bottom here, then it's, you know, an F is an F. Okay, and then one more very important part here. We're going to return the letter grade back to main. Now, let's keep in mind, when your function, you know what, just to prove a point, I'm going to try to build the solution. When you build a solution, you're just compiling it without actually trying to run it. And I should come up, yeah, there we go. I have an error, it did not compile. And here's why. It says letter grade, get letter grade must return a value. When you say this function is going to have a return type, anything other than void means nothing, and so, you know, if you have a void, then you don't have to worry about this. But we don't have void here. We're saying this function returns a char or a character. So then you have to, absolutely have to, have a return statement at the end here that returns a character, whatever you're returning. And in this case, we're returning the letter that we have assigned. It's in the letter, so we're returning the letter. And the instructions, the exam instructions say that. Let's see here. Return the letter grade back to main. Okay, so I'm going to end this video, and then in the next video, we'll start attacking the main function and coming up with that functionality.